Hello, hello, hello. How's it going, everyone? Right. Who's ready for qualifying? The most important qualifying session of the year. Qualifying is on in half an hour's time, guys. On the hour. We just gone live a little bit earlier so that we can get together, have a little chat, discussion, get set up and prepped for qualifying that happens on the hour. Hello, Mark. Good to see Tan, Chili, welcome JW, welcome everyone. I've got my rum and coke. A nice sunny afternoon here in the UK. Feeling good. I'm full up. Let's go. What is my podcast about? It's not my podcast per se, but I am a panelist and I will be guest hosting this weekend. The Missed Apex F1 podcast is the best independent F1 podcast out there. We do consistent episodes, race reviews, and catch-ups throughout the whole of the year. We're one of the only few podcasts who continues content in the off-season, and we have some great guests as well. We have former head of strategies, former team principals. We haven't had any drivers on as of yet, but some of the accredited journalists who have been up and down the F1 paddock for decades come on and chat to us and give their insights into F1. But mostly we're just F1 fans who love Formula One. It's hosted mainly by spanners and trumpets, and then every now and then, we step in when they're not around. So bank holiday mood, Daisy. Do you know what? I keep forgetting it's a bank holiday. Keep forgetting. Why is my chat box not showing? Here we go. There we go. So if you're just joining us, guys, I'm just waiting for the live data to become available to us, and then we'll switch scene so that we can set that up. But at the moment, let's just chill and chat. Hey, Rod, good to see you, mate. Hello from Monaco, Yuki. Are you actually tuning in from Monaco? Chances of me hanging up with Mexican flag. Chances very low, unfortunately, racing. Very low. Good afternoon, Anthony. Good afternoon. Yes, I think we're in for a very, very interesting qualifying session. It's the most exciting one of the year here at Monaco. Of course, Charles Leclerc is in pole position. No pun intended there, but he has been showing some tremendous pace in FP2 and FP3, even in FP1 as well. The Red Bull, the big story really is that Max Verstappen, as we found out in FP3, really struggling in that middle sector. Just can't seem to close the gap on Charles Leclerc. Lots of people rumoured that he's still got the engine turned down, but Max is definitely not comfortable over the radio. Neither is Sergio Perez in that Red Bull car. It doesn't like bumps, doesn't like curbs, and those are two things that come with the Monaco street circuit. So, yeah, interesting. Interesting one ahead of us. Hey, Aaron, Melbourne. How's Ham looking? Okay. I think a lot of people got hyped over his performance in FP1 and FP2, but they've had their engine turned up, Mercedes. That's what the data shows. I do kind of expect them to maybe slot back into that fourth car position, 6th, 7th maybe, unless Hamilton pulls an amazing performance out the bag. Yeah, don't think it's going to be a front row start for Hamilton, unfortunately. McLaren should be monster F1 team. No, the McLaren name is history. Good history. Going to be hard to pass, but I'm hoping for a close race. It'll be close, but yeah, there's nowhere to pass. I was actually watching while I was having lunch. There was extended highlights on the F1 page, YouTube channel, of the 2004 Grand Prix. And it is amazing. One, the car's sound. And two, just like they're so much racier. so much racier. You see cars showing their nose, actually going kind of side by side for the chicane. There's actually room on the circuit for them, whereas now, not so much. So, from South Africa, welcome Dave, welcome. So predictions, yes, so for anyone who hasn't tuned in to the previous practice sessions, I called it in FP2, which is the first watch along we did this week. I'm sticking with it. Leclerc pole position, Piastri P2, Norris P3. And I made a very bold claim that Max Verstappen won't be in the top 5. It's a very bold claim, but we'll see if I eat some humble pie shortly. So, hey gamer, good to see ya. I'm very well. Got my rum and coke. It's all good. It's a nice Saturday afternoon. But yeah, I think the reason I say that is that I think it's just going to be a really close qualifying, and I think that difference in the middle sector that Verstappen has shown and struggled with in all the practice sessions, I think is going to just be the difference between him finishing potentially on the front row to finishing down in 5th position outside the top 5. So, but we'll see. And that's only because of the nature of this circuit. Any other circuit, of course, I think he'd be able to dig deep like we saw in Imola. But because this is a street circuit and because it just looks so twitchy, I mean, I still have a prediction that we'll see a crash in qualifying. I don't know who that will be. I still think maybe one of the top 6 drivers out of Red Bull, McLaren, Ferrari will win it. So just because of how close they know the qualifying is going to be, and they're going to be going for every bit of time that they can find. But still waiting for the data to become available to us. Not yet active, so maybe just another 5 minutes or so. Do you foresee chaos in the race? Like the F3 race earlier, did anyone see that? A 6-car pile-up at the casino? Wow, what a... that was like something from an iRacing, from a sim racing race, that was. Tsunoda is in a good position, though. He definitely looks quick here. So hopefully he'll be able to capitalise on the good performance he's shown in practice thus far. Wino Hamilton inside my poll. Look, I'm a Hamilton fan. I've got the helmet. I've got the poster. He even had a Lewis Hamilton monster before this stream. But I'm realistic. I'm grounded. I know that I genuinely would be shocked. Absolutely shocked if Hamilton got pole. I just don't see, unless Charles Leclerc crashes out and Max Verstappen also, I just don't see there being any scenario where Lewis Hamilton gets on pole position. So, F3 moment, yeah. I'd love for it to be. I'd love to be proved wrong, but unfortunately, not while he's still in a Mercedes car, at least. Maybe next year when he's in red. Hey, Violet. Yes, indeedy. Yes, the qualifying session nearly underway. Just over 15 minutes. Sorry, 15 minutes? I'm getting ahead of myself here. Just over 20 minutes until qualifying gets underway. At the moment, the poll that we've run... Can only pick 4 guys. Sorry, I only can pick 4 drivers in the poll. Who's getting pole position? Verstappen, Leclerc, Piastri, or Norris? So many of you doubting Piastri. Maybe if... I mean, do you see Piastri getting in the top 3 in chat? That might be a better poll to run for Piastri. Do you see him getting in the top 3? I can see why maybe people don't think he's going to get on pole position because of Leclerc. But... yeah, 61% overwhelmingly at the moment for Charles Leclerc. But do we think Piastri will get in the top 3? I think he's going to be on the front row. I think after Imola last week, great qualifying from him. Arguably could have been on pole position if it wasn't for Max Verstappen getting that cheeky little toe from Hulkenberg. And unfortunate, obviously, with his post-race penalty. Interesting, actually. Max Verstappen, so at the end of FP3, when we ended the stream, Max Verstappen was being investigated for going slow through the tunnel. I wonder if there was anything found in that regard. I haven't seen anything online, so I imagine it was probably just nothing. So So no further update on Max Verstappen from what I can see in regards to if he's getting a potential penalty for going slow on Yuki Tsunoda. So I imagine he's got away with it, or there's no further action. I say got away with it, like there's no further action. They've deemed that he was okay. But yeah, it was definitely a hair-raising moment through the middle sector in the tunnel with Yuki Tsunoda. Right. Is the timing up to date? It's not up to date just yet. So bear with me, guys. Bear with me. Gonna have to sit there and look at my ugly mug for the next 10 minutes or so. Until we can properly get set up with the live data. Your brother has a signed card from Hamilton. Oh, nice. Hamilton is bad pace this season. Yeah, we know that, Eden. But that's primarily down to the car. There's nothing... You are limited to the car. Of course, 80% of it is the car, 20% of the driver. But that 20%, of course, does make a difference, as we've seen with Verstappen and Perez in times gone by. So, yeah. Is rain expected tomorrow? I'm not sure. Not sure. Why has Lando been so far behind in practice? I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I'm hoping it's just the fact that the McLarens are just sandbagging a little bit. But we'll find out very shortly if they do have some single lap pace. Piastri has comfortably been quicker than Norris here at Monaco this weekend. So that's why I do have Piastri ahead of Norris in qualifying. So I think Norris will be close behind. But yeah, not long till we find out. Not long till we find out. It's 3 o'clock. Yes, Anthony. On the hour is when qualifying will start. It's definitely going to be a quick. You reckon the Red Bulls are going to be top trumps? You think they're going to come through? I just don't think so. I think we've seen it. We've seen the issues they've got in the slower corners in the middle sector and a little bit in the last sector as well. So, what's my sound strategy? It's normally just a one-stop race, isn't it? There's never a two-stop. You either just... I saw someone tweet, actually, a former head of strategy. Is it Mike Caulfield? Used to be... Is it Haas? Head of strategy at Haas. Basically, at Monaco, you get graining on the tyre, so you get to a point where, of course, the car starts to become a bit slidey, lose grip because of the graining, but then you can drive through that grain. So, yeah. The important thing with Monaco is getting clean air. That's the main thing. All the teams tomorrow will be looking at the track maps, looking at where they can release their driver into some clean air and get that undercut done. The overcut isn't going to be powerful here, I don't think. It's just all about track position, whether or not you're going to come out behind traffic or not, and make use of the fresh rubber that you do have to get in some decent laps, because we know obviously how the size of these cars, you can just be a roadblock. We saw that with Alonso last year. He's kind of parking his car in the middle and he was like a second a lap slower than the leaders, but there was nothing that Hamilton behind could do in a quicker car because there was nowhere to overtake. So Yuki and Lando's performance this year, if Ham was in a Ferrari this year, how do you reckon he'd fare against Monster Pack? Hamilton will be, of course, fighting for... Ferrari still haven't had the car to fight for wins, but he'd definitely be fighting for podiums. Yeah, 100%. So there's only so much any driver can do in a car that hasn't got the pace. Max Verstappen isn't going to win races in a Mercedes. He's not going to win races in an Alpine. Like, it's just you're limited to the engine, the equipment you've got. But some people, of course, are much better with their equipment than others, like we've seen with Max and Perez. And Lewis and Bottas and Rosberg and that over the years. So hope Leclerc won't win at Monaco. Blasphemy. Absolute blasphemy. You must have another favourite driver then, Nene. Lando. There we go. That's why. That's why. Right, what is going on with the timing screens, by the way? Apologies, we haven't switched scene just yet, guys. I'm waiting for it to go live. It is live, but the live timing is not available yet. So normally it goes live around now. So what, me being upset? You can see how sometimes things can be misconstrued, Flinton. Sometimes you don't know it's a joke, obviously, just reading text, because you can't gauge the context of stuff sometimes. So I hope Ricardo can pull something out of the bag today. Yeah, Ricardo really does need to pull his finger out. Practice has not been good at the moment. He has he's been outperformed by Yuki quite comfortably in practice, but of course, practice is practice. Maybe he was trying something different, I don't know. But Ricardo is a former winner here. Could arguably be a double winner if it wasn't for that mix-up with the pit stop, of course, that year. I can't remember what year it was. So, yeah. He's definitely got the chops and the confidence at Monaco, but let's see what he can do in qualifying. Hopefully he can get through to Q2. That would be a great performance from him. But of course, if he gets through to Q2 and Yuki gets through to Q3, that's where he's going to be judged by. So, probably asleep, Georgian. Emily's from other Emily's from Australia. So all the Aussies who we saw in the chat, unless you're super committed, will be most likely asleep right now. Right, let's have a look. Bosh, live timing is ready. We're ready to rock and roll. Here we go. Let's have a look here. So let's move that over slightly. Let's move that here. Okay. Kind of all we need. And then, actually, let's move that over. We only need 3 tyres, really, to see what they're on. And then... hang on. There we go. Ready to rock and roll, guys. Ready to rock and roll. We could see 4 different teams in the top 4, potentially. Yeah, I mean, I still expect Mercedes to be, like, 4th fastest car. I think that's kind of what they're indicating. Even with the struggles that Red Bull have, they do look quicker. So, committed Aussie here, Sonia. Credit to you. I salute you. I salute you. But thank you for everyone for joining this qualifying session, the most important of the year. Practice earlier was absolutely mega. Most amount of viewers I've had for a practice session. Normally I don't do practice because of work and just kind of other reasons, but yeah, everyone was super intrigued to see what was going to happen in FP3. And yeah, big thank you to everyone for subbing and liking the stream. We're just continuing to grow this great community that we've got here. So yeah, absolutely love it. Verstappen just crashing Q1 like Perez last year. Anything can happen in the first lap Monaco. It's true. It is true. Obviously, a lot less now because of the size of the cars. If anything is going to happen, though, it will be at the start, of course, into Turn 1, where you've got that many cars bunched up. But still, as I said, I watched the 2004 race earlier on, or the extended highlights on F1's YouTube page, and it's just... I just so wish we could go back to cars being that size. Like, they still look quick. They don't look slow at all. So... of course, the cars have got a lot quicker over the years now. They're the quickest they've ever been, but like, well, not the quickest they've ever been. That was a few years ago, but like, they're still mega quick. And yeah, it's a shame that they've got to the size that they have, really. No one has a sense of humour. Red Bull don't give you wing, it gives you a head. The quality polls will be the final polls tomorrow. Yeah, potentially. That's obviously that's what happens at Monaco. Interestingly, we're already quicker than last year's pole position. I can't remember what it was, but Charles Leclerc broke that fastest lap that we saw from, well, beat the pole position from last year in FP2. So he was quicker in FP3, so most definitely quicker. So we're going to see, yeah, mega quick qualifying session today. Still think someone's going to bin it. I still think someone is going to bin it. We're only 10 minutes to go now, guys. Under 10 minutes until Q1 gets underway. Unfortunately, if there's any Stake F1 fans in here, I know there's probably a couple of you out there. They will most likely be going out. Bottas's car, of course, in FP3 will require some repairs. We'll see if they've been able to repair the front right suspension that Bottas broke clean off in the FP, very early in FP3. But they've been very slow anyway at the bottom of the timing sheets in all practice sessions. So not good for them. We'll see how Logie Bear does. Logan Sargent, can he drag that Williams out of Q1? Once again, fortunately, guys, don't have much hope. And then, yeah, the other two positions I think are kind of up for grabs. Can we see 110s? I think so. Yeah, I think we will, Gav. I think we'll see probably higher 110s, maybe even mid. America. Hamilton will crash. I don't think so. I think the Mercedes looks probably as balanced as it's ever looked at Monaco. It looks more balanced here than it does at any other circuit, which is odd, isn't it? But yeah, that's kind of the unique nature of this street circuit, Monaco. But yeah, this not long to go now, guys. Not long to go. So give me your top three. We've obviously done the pole position poll, the poll for pole position, which is overwhelmingly Charles Leclerc, over 500 votes. But who's going to be your top three? Let me know. Who's your top three? I've told you my top three. Who's your top three? Violet thinks Leclerc, Verstappen, Norris. Interesting. At some point, they'll need to make the track longer if they go any faster. Yeah, I don't think so. I think we're moving back towards, obviously, smaller and lighter cars, which is what we need to do. Leclerc, Max, Perez, Eden. Oh, really? You think Perez is going to get P3? Interesting. King of the street circuits. Doesn't look to be too comfortable here this weekend, but interesting. Leclerc, Max, Lando, or Oscar. Piastri on pole position. Ooh. Spanners matched up. Leclerc, Sainz, Norris. Leclerc, Norris, Verstappen. Leclerc, Verstappen, Lewis. Perez, Verstappen. Oh, Perez, Verstappen, Joe, Bottas, Sargent out of Q1. Perez, Max, Lando. Lots of people have faith in Perez, even though he struggled in the practice sessions. The king of the streets. Leclerc, Sainz, Norris. Leclerc, Piastri, Norris. It's really, do you know what? I love seeing your predictions, guys, because it just shows that F1 is now in a much better place than it was 6 races ago at the start of the year. Because we now have such a variety in our predictions in regards to who's going to be on pole position or who's going to win races. Of course, Max completely pulled it out of the bag, dug deep and got pole position last time around at Imola, and he won the race. However, he was on pole position by less than a tenth of a second, and he won the race by less than a second. That's all we want as fans. We just want close racing, competitive racing, and the variety of not knowing who's really going to be on pole position, who's going to win the races. The eventuality was, it was the norm, it was Max Verstappen, but it wasn't a typical Max Verstappen performance where he's half a second quicker, three tenths quicker on pole position, and then wins the race by 20 odd seconds. And that's going to be the same again here at Monaco for sure. But it's definitely Leclerc in the ascendancy. I think it's definitely at the moment Leclerc's to kind of lose. However, that's only because of practice. Maybe someone like Piastri, like Norris, has just been hiding their pace a little bit. But we'll see. Not long to go. You, if you're driving, Richie. Whoever gets pole position wins in Monaco. Pretty much, and that's why it's so essential here, guys, as we are 5 minutes away from qualifying getting underway, which is interesting that drivers are already making their way, or is that just, I think that's just the markers updating themselves, guys. They're not making their way to the end of the pit lane just yet, so don't worry about that. They're also not flying in from the other side of the track, don't worry. Wait for an Indian driver on the grid. Yeah, in the future, maybe. In the future. The problem is there's just such limited space, isn't there? That's why we need at least an 11th team on the grid. like anyone who says that there isn't room, I mean, we said it earlier on, there's drivers on the grid now who don't deserve to be there. There's a whole host of young drivers coming through who deserve an opportunity. There's been some good young drivers who haven't had the opportunity because they've come through the ranks at the wrong time. And yeah, hopefully we eventually get 2 more teams on the grid. It's a struggle to get 1 more on there at the moment, but there's definitely a position for 2 more teams on the grid, and that will free up 4 more positions for some hopefully good drivers to be on there. But we need talent on the grid, not money. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Lance Stroll should quit F1. I totally agree. I won't be getting invited to Aston Martin anytime soon, that's for sure, but I don't care. Yeah, he shouldn't be an F1. He's an 8-year rookie, isn't he? He's an 8-year rookie. Leclerc will get pole. Verstappen is struggling in sector 2 and 3. That's my exact thoughts, Mane. My exact thoughts. Right, guys, we are only minutes away, less than 4 minutes until qualifying gets underway. Q1. My predictions for drivers going out in Q1 will be the 2 state cars. I think Logan Sargent. I think Alex Albon as well. I do think Alex is going to go out. And I'm going to say Lance Stroll. I think Lance Stroll is going to go out in Q1 also. So I don't think there's going to be a big shock. I think we're going to lose the 2 Williams, the 2 state cars, and Lance Stroll. That's going to be my predictions. Right. Let's go, let's go. If you can hit the like button, guys, let's get this stream to over 100 likes before the qualifying gets underway. That'd be amazing. Just under 20 of you to hit that like button. Helps push the stream as we will see drivers making their way to the end of the pit lane. Q1 is going to be a bit of a mess as well because everyone is going to be wanting to get out there. Maybe we will have a shock with one of the big drivers going out in Q1 because traffic is really essential and a big issue here, navigating your way through it. Of course, we saw Perez absolutely muck it up and bin it in the first corner last time around, last year, where we got to have a nice look at that Red Bull floor. But yes, Q1, there could be some potential grid place penalties because of impeding, so drivers need to be careful when they're not on a hot lap. We're not going to see the fastest of lap times here in Q1, but yeah, traffic is more of the risk factor rather than the walls, I think, in this first session. So yeah, those are my predictions, but of course anything can happen at Monaco, which is why the qualifying is normally more exciting than the race. Chevrolet Williams looked like they was on the up in the last year. Yeah, something hasn't quite worked for them this year, has it? Something hasn't quite clicked. So hey Roo, good to see you, mate. Stuffey sleeping in. I'm not sleeping in. Start is always so suspenseful. Yeah. Right, so I'm going to end the pole position poll for pole position. Over 700 votes, and nearly everyone who's in this stream right now has voted, ending it. And well, we can see that the results are clear. 56% for Charles Leclerc, 30% for Max Verstappen, 7% for Norris, and 5% for Piastri. Lots of you underestimating the McLarens. We'll see. But yeah, Max Verstappen in P2. He was P2 in the FP3 session, but is struggling at the moment in the second sectors, which reminds me, I'm going to get the sectors leaderboard up so that we can keep an eye out on if he improves throughout that sector. I'm also going to get the race control messages up as well. Whatever they've disappeared to. Wherever they disappeared to. There we go. Just keep that off screen so I can keep things up to date for you. Right, here we go. Drivers, get green light, guys. It's green light. Q1 is underway. This first qualifying session of the Monaco Grand Prix. Let's go. Let's go. Hamilton and Russell wasting no time whatsoever to get out there and set a banker lap. That could be very, very important of course, in this Monaco session. As we've already mentioned, qualifying could be interrupted in Q1 by a crash. It could be interrupted by, of course, the traffic as well, getting in your way. So while no one will have a traffic-free lap, even with Hamilton getting out there first, it does put you in a much better position than it is maybe waiting till the end. That's the risk you always run with a street circuit. If you wait till the last time to go out there, you might not even get an opportunity to set a lap. But of course, in qualifying, unlike practice, if there is a red flag, there will be the pause of time. So the time won't tick down like it does in practice. So you will still have an opportunity to get out there, unless there's not enough time to do an outlap, to get back out there and set a lap. So here we go. Lewis Hamilton is going to be the first driver to set a lap here. The fastest we've seen thus far today is a 1:11.3 from Charles Leclerc. I don't expect to kind of really get down to that range in Q1 with the amount of traffic that there is. But let's see as Lewis Hamilton makes his way up to turn 1. Sandavant, we've already seen drivers, Lewis Hamilton himself, take avoiding action there down the escape road as he heads up the hill all the way through to Casino. Round through turn 3 and 4 as he heads down there where you've got the bump. They have to take avoiding action of that bump in that little kink there between turn 4 and 5. Also saw Magnussen take avoiding action there. 21.1 for Hamilton in the first sector, which is very slow compared to what we've seen in the practice sessions. We saw anything as low as 18.3 from... very slow from both Mercedes drivers there actually in the first sector, as Logan Sargent and Daniel Ricciardo at 19.4. So yeah, very, very slow there from the two Mercedes drivers. Not quite sure what happened to them in the first sector, that's for sure. Very, very slow and extra cautious, just trying to get their banker lap in. But this banker lap is going to be very slow from what I can see at the moment. Daniel Ricciardo at 19.4 in the first sector, 19.4 as well from Lando Norris. That's more of kind of what I expected to see in this first sector as Hamilton makes his way through Rasgas, turn 18, then into the sharp turn 19. It's very close on the wall on the exit, and it's full throttle, of course, all the way to the start-finish line. And that is a 1:19.5 and a very slow first lap for Lewis Hamilton. George Russell is going to be next across the line. Will he beat his teammate? A 24.4, so... George made a big mistake in the last corner, last sector there, and Lewis Hamilton had his lap time deleted for track limits at turn 10. Oh, so Lewis went through the chicane. Lewis went through the chicane as Yuki's setting the fastest laps right now. A purple in the second sector. We can see George Russell. Maybe he just backed off actually at the end of the last sector to go again, because I think these drivers do have, with the shortness of this circuit, they do have an opportunity to use their battery 2 laps in a row, and that is quite clearly the case, as Lewis Hamilton, a 19.0 from him last time around. That was much better, as well as George Russell just under that. Max Verstappen purple at the moment, just under 19 seconds as well. But Lewis Hamilton, as Yuki goes to the top with a 1:13.0, good lap time from him. Norris a 1:14.0, a full second off, maybe traffic got in the way, but Lewis Hamilton's definitely going to improve here as he goes to the top of the timing sheets. Well, 1:12.9, only 1/10 faster than Yuki. So yes, Hamilton and Russell definitely did 2 outlaps there to get the tyres up to temperatures we've seen the Mercedes do before. A 1:13.2 for Russell, Ocon a 1:13.6. Let's keep an eye out on Max though. Max there heading through turn 18 as Leclerc moves out of his way, and Max hasn't set purple in the middle sector, actually slightly slower than that of Verstappen, of Hamilton. So as he comes across the start-finish line, where does he go? He does indeed go to the top of the timing sheets with a much quicker last sector, 1.5 tenths faster than the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton. But once again, Verstappen very slow in the middle sector. He's currently P8 in the second sector, where he's leading sector 1 and sector 3 at the moment, without, of course, the Ferraris setting a lap time yet, and of course the McLarens as well. But we can see here, whoa, stop the count. What's this? 2 Haas drivers at the top of the timing sheets. Your eyes are not deceiving you if you're just joining us, guys. Hulkenberg and Magnussen are at the top of the timing screens. What? What? There's already our first incident of impeding being investigated between Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon. Sainz and Leclerc were on their outlaps, whereas Alex Albon has set a full fastest lap time. But we can see here that drivers are going to get, the track is just going to get quicker and quicker. It's not necessarily a circuit where you need to be on fresh rubber, on fresh tyres to go quick and improve, because there's very little deg in this in these tyres at this circuit, so you can stay out there for multiple laps, especially in this first session, at least, to get the temperature in the tyres and set a lap. As we've already seen, wow, George Russell had his lap time deleted at turn 10. Oh, that's a very slow lap anyway, probably just getting out of the way of traffic. But we can see that Charles Leclerc, his first time lap is only a 1:12.8. So that's obviously a first out lap for him pretty much as well. So he will improve, don't worry, Ferrari fans, as George Russell's gone fastest in the first sector, an 18.7, as Norris still can't beat the Haas of Hülkenberg and Magnussen. What is going on there? But look at the backup of traffic in the last corner, as Zhou and Bottas, Albon and Magnussen going very slow, as Gasly is going to catch this pack potentially as they're lining up to start their laps. This is where we could see penalties dished out. Lots of drivers getting lap times deleted, of course, just trying to avoid traffic. Lance Stroll almost stationary there in turn 18 to allow Gasly to come through, as well as Piastri. We can see that Norris is stationary as he heads into the Mirabeau chicane, as there is Mirabeau hairpin. Sorry, as we can see that Tsunoda's actually had his lap time impeded there. It seems like he was going very quick and has had to back off because of Lando Norris there into the turn 6 hairpin. Oh no, is that a potential penalty coming Lando Norris's way? That might be impeding as George Russell heads to the top of the timing sheets with a 1:12.2. This is absolute carnage out there at the moment, as Carlos Sainz is in P2, pushing the Haas is finally off down off of the top of the timing sheets. Perez really struggling in P17 at the moment. Max Verstappen improves and goes to the top of the timing sheets. He's very good for the first sector and last sector, but that middle sector, he's still very slow, only just inside the top 10. Alex Albon actually goes fastest in the last sector there. But Lando Norris, I'm waiting to see if he actually got impeded, because Yuki Tsunoda was going very quick, unless he wasn't on a flying lap. I'm waiting for the TV coverage to catch up to see that, but it did look like on the track map that Lando was letting Daniel Ricciardo past, and Yuki was flying through and then had to slam on the brakes. As Piastri, our first sub 1 minute 12 second time, Piastri goes to the top, 2 tenths faster than that of Max Verstappen on 5-lap old hards, as Lance Stroll goes up to P3. So maybe my prediction of Lance Stroll being pushed out of this first qualifying session is actually way off the mark. But we can see here that Alonso into P3 as well. Double winner here at Monaco. Back in the 2000s, some of you may have not even been out on nappies or even born when Alonso won his first Monaco Grand Prix, which is absolutely crazy for me to say. But yes, Alonso in P3, George Russell P5. Let's have a look at the Ferraris of Sainz and Leclerc. Leclerc looks like he got held up in the middle sector there with a very slow 34.3, as well. He did improve in the last sector. Imagine if Charles Leclerc gets pushed out here. That would be absolutely extraordinary. But you can see no one is pitting. Everyone is staying out there, as really the tyres are just getting quicker and quicker, as well as the track, because of the temperature and the lack of deg in these cars. So it'd be interesting to see if Piastri stays out there or if he comes into the pit lane. Both Haases are in at the moment, as is Daniel Ricciardo. Both the RB cars of Yuki and... Ricciardo, Yuki and Sargent in the Williams. Verstappen's going again on a fast lap here, but he's got a bit of traffic to contend with. Fastest in the first sector, a 1:18.5. That's 2 tenths faster than anyone at the moment, as Gasly heads up to P3. So you can see here how much traffic is playing into this, as you wouldn't expect to see Gasly setting pretty much identical lap times to Max Verstappen. So let's keep an eye on him as he heads into the chicane of turns 10 and 11. What is his middle sector time? This is, of course, where he is lacking in pace at the moment. Currently P13, well, he's just jumped up to P8 at the moment with that middle sector time. So very slow for him compared to everyone. But Ricciardo complaining about crazy traffic in turn 1 as Joe, Bottas and Ricciardo are being, the incident is being noted for impeding. So the stewards are going to be very busy here as George Russell's Max Verstappen only goes P3 with that lap time. George Russell up there in P2 getting the most out of that Mercedes, but Sainz also complaining about traffic as well. The drivers are out there now, need to make the most of this lack of traffic, the likes of Hamilton, because he's only got Perez to contend with as he heads down into T5, and this is probably the cleanest lap that Hamilton is going to have here for some time in this Q1 session, so he needs to make it stick. He's gone 18.7 in the first sector. That's a good lap time from him. That is third fastest in the first sector thus far. So from here on out, he has got a clean track with only his teammate up ahead of him who will definitely not get in the way. So Hamilton needs to make the most of this without the lack of traffic. Leclerc complaining about he's in the worst position on circuit at the moment, and it shows with only his time being in P12. Sainz trying to set a lap as well, slightly off the mark in sector 1, but still a sub 19 second. That should be comfortable for him if he hooks up the rest of the lap to get through. But Hamilton is going well in the second sector. That's P4 in the second sector as well. All he needs to do is hook up this last sector across the start finish line, and he heads to P2, 0.03 of a second behind Oscar Piastri, and that will no doubt, you'd imagine, allow him to get through to the next session as Sainz sets a purple last sector to drag himself up to P4. But look at the top 5 separated by less than 1/10 of a second, guys. I predicted that this qualifying session is going to be the tightest that we have ever seen. Definitely what we've seen all year. We had 3 drivers at Max Verstappen and Sainz impeding. Max Verstappen and Sainz noted impeding. I think that was Max on Sainz because of last time around. But we saw 3 drivers separated by less than 1/10 in Q3 last time out at Imola with Verstappen, Piastri and Norris. And we have 5 drivers in Q1 separated by less than 1/10. The top 16, Yuki Tsunoda is only 0.8 off of P1, and we've seen Yuki put in some good laps. Now he's on fresh tyres. You can see there the 0 indicated next to the soft tyre compound next to his name. So he is out there on fresh tyres, as is Daniel Ricciardo, Logan Sargent, Bottas as well. I mean, you can quite easily see there that the Stake F1 cars have kind of just accepted their fate. There's not a lot going for them today. But this first practice session, guys, I apologise I haven't had an opportunity to look at chat and respond to any of your comments because this is just absolutely crazy right now. Over 2,000 of you here in the stream, nearly 2,500. And there's a yellow flag briefly there. I think that was a bit premature, that flag, for Sargent, as Leclerc finally gets that lap time in, a 0. Wow, where's Magnussen come from? So it clearly indicates that the track is getting quicker, and if you put on fresh new tyres, you can improve, as Daniel Ricciardo does. But Magnussen, the Haas, is pulling something out of the bag as the Hulkenberg goes P3. What? Cooking. The Haas are cooking. But if you can hit that like button, guys, get this stream to over 1,000 likes. It's only 190 thus far. And if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. I have seen subscribers come in, and thank you very much for those subscriptions. Much appreciated. Let's see if we can get that number to the top hand right of your screen up to 23,000. We definitely can today. Surely. But wow, what a... I don't know who's going to go out here. Perez definitely looks like he's struggling. Has struggled to improve. He's now on a brand new set of fresh tyres, but everyone is out there on circuit at the moment. Not one car in the pit lane, so traffic is going to be essential. As Lance Stroll goes up to P2, 0.07 of a second behind Leclerc as Russell sets the fastest lap already, 1.5 tenths quicker than Charles Leclerc. It's chopping and changing quicker than I can keep up to date with. Norris down there in P14 at the moment, Perez in P16. Where is Perez? He's about to cross the start-finish line. And, okay, he's starting the lap now. So Perez is on a flying lap. Sorry, that was his out lap. I was about to rip into Perez there, but we'll hold off just for now as he's heading through the first sector. Hamilton also starting the lap as well. Verstappen improves and heads up to P3, but that's still 2 tenths behind George Russell, of all people. Another impeding, but Sainz and Verstappen will be reviewed after the session. Albon heads up into P5. Where else do I need to look? As Yuki's going purple in the middle sector. He's currently 19th, but Yuki is making his way. Where is he? He's behind Hulkenberg, making his way out of the last corner. Hopefully Hulkenberg hasn't impeded him there. And Yuki, where is he going to jump up to? P7, a good time, a 1:11.8. That should be enough for him. 2.5 minutes remaining, guys, or just under, for this session. Oscar now setting the fastest lap in the middle. As Norris is in the pit lane. What's Norris doing? Why is Norris in the pit lane? Why is Norris in the pit lane? Is he coming in for fresh tyres? He's got enough for one out lap. He's back out. So Norris is back out on... Why did Norris come for the pit lane? That's bizarre. That's bizarre, as Oscar doesn't improve. Oscar doesn't improve and is stuck there in P9. He's only 3 tenths off of the drop zone. I mean, who else is going to get a time here? So Lando really needs to get a move on here, because there's 1 minute 30 seconds as Hamilton... Wow, 2 Mercedes at the top of the timing sheets, guys. First it was Haas, now it's Mercedes. Who knows? Who knows? It's all about getting those banker laps in, but he's so tight there at the top of the leaderboard. Perez only did a 1:12 last time around in P14, so Perez is definitely in danger. He's struggling here. You'd think that even if he gets through this Q3, he is probably going to struggle to get out of Q2. Really not looking comfortable whatsoever. How about Max Verstappen? He's about to start another lap as he's on 9-lap soft tyres. Put it in perspective, those Mercedes drivers, Russell and Hamilton, both set those laps on brand new tyres, where Leclerc and Verstappen are on used. So I do still expect them to not be at the top of the leaderboard come the end of qualifying. But we can see there Norris... Look at the backup into the last couple of corners here. Is Piastri on a flying lap? No. Lance Stroll is going to be approaching very quickly, though, as he heads through the swimming pool section. Gasly and Norris. Gasly going very, very slow there. But look at Lance Stroll. Look at Perez on flying laps. Norris and Piastri. Is Stroll going to get impeded here? Piastri has to let Lance Stroll go by, and then he's now going to start his flying lap. But Norris needs to pull something out of the bag here. He's currently in P18. There's 20 seconds remaining. He will not have another opportunity to set another lap. So pressure is on Lando. You would think all he needs to do is just get a banker lap in, as Hamilton comfortably through, as well will be the Mercedes. As Max Verstappen, is he going to pit again, or is he going to go for this last lap? He is indeed. So Max Verstappen going for one more lap on 10-lap old softs as he doesn't improve and still stays P4. But let's keep an eye out on who are the drivers at risk, as Logan Sargent pushes Perez down even more. But Perez is on a flying lap at the moment. A good time from him, an 18.8. But we've seen that Red Bull struggle in the second sector. Perez currently in the second sector is 16th fastest. Verstappen is 15th fastest. That is how slow the Red Bulls are through that middle sector, which is where they're suffering at the moment. Albon, a great lap time from him, has probably dragged himself through to Q2 as Ricciardo gets up into P8. A great time from him, but what about Yuki? Does he improve? Yuki doesn't improve, but I think he's going to be okay. Norris, how about him? Norris is going well. He's green in both sectors, so he will improve on his lap time, but by how much? As Gasly, a great drive from him in Q1, drags himself up to P7. Norris, only P9, under pressure, gets the job done as Piastri goes into P2, 8 thousandths of a second behind George Russell on brand new set of softs. But what about Perez? Is he going to be the biggest scalp here in Q1? Is he going to be able to drag himself out of it? No! Sergio Perez, the king of the street, is out of Q1. Sergio Perez, the biggest scalp here, is only faster than the stake F1 cars. What? Sergio out of Q1 again. Yes, you are correct there in chat. But this time around, he's kept the car intact and he is in P18. Oh my God. Absolutely shocking performance from Sergio Perez there. I'm sorry, race driver, wherever you are in chat, you will not be getting your Mexican flag out today. I would hardly advise that you keep it packed up, put it away and save it for another race, because that is an absolutely tragic performance from Sergio Perez there in Q1. only faster than the two Stake F1 cars who have been way off the pace all weekend, and Logan Sargent and Fernando Alonso. I was so focused on Perez, but Fernando Alonso, two-time winner here, has for the second race in a row been out-qualified by his teammate Lance Stroll and is out in Q1. Wow. 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 But an absolutely crazy, crazy Q1 session there, guys. I don't think I've ever been so preoccupied with a Q1 session in my life. Monaco lives up to expectation when it comes to qualifying. Of course, the race will is still left to be desired, but we have lost Alonso, Sargent, Perez, and the two Stake F1 cars, Bottas and Joe. But I did not expect to see Alonso and Perez out there in Q1. Ricciardo and Tsunoda, both RB cars, got through, as well did the Haases and the Alpines, who are definitely on the up. Ocon just gets by into Q2, but Gasly looking comfortable, only just behind Verstappen in P8 there. But wow, Albon, great performance from him, P6. Now, lap times wise are kind of irrelevant, guys, because there's a lot of traffic for these drivers to deal with. Ignore all the double yellows on sector at the moment. It's just them doing their checks out on circuit. But yes, wow, what a Q1. Whew. And breathe. Now, there's something important I want to show you guys. Something I want to show you guys right now. This is the sector times. This is the sector times of the drivers. Max Verstappen, P1 in Sector 1. P17 in Sector 2. What? That is where the difference is right now. Now, you are talking only 3 tenths. No, sorry, 5 tenths. Sorry, you're talking half a second from Piastri. Now, don't get me wrong, Verstappen was on used tyres. I get it. He stayed out there for longer and longer and longer. However, that is an indication of where the Red Bull is massively struggling at the moment, is in that middle sector. So we're talking all the way from turn 3 down to the chicane. That is where just the Red Bull is off pace, and that's why, of course, my bold prediction of Max Verstappen outside the top 5 is still on. I think is still on, especially with Sergio Perez going out in Q1. Now, we know Perez can't hold a candle to Max. We know that, but that is a clear indication of where the Red Bull is struggling. And the Mercedes looked good in the last sector. Charles Leclerc, we know that he's still got a lot of pace in hand. Traffic really got in the way of him setting an overall fastest lap. But wow, what a Q1 session that was, guys. What a Q1 session. If you enjoyed that, please hit the like button. We have 2 more sessions to go. Of course, a little bit less traffic, but that means drivers will be able to push even harder. And we obviously have that risk element here at Monaco with the barriers so close. No room for error and still potential for there being some crashes as well. But yeah, 0.1 seconds between the top 5. So close. So close. You underestimate the Mercs. We'll see. But of course, as there's less cars on track, drivers will be able to show their true pace. Obviously, Charles Leclerc still wasn't really able to do that. Did only set his time on used tyres compared to those of Piastri and Hamilton and Russell on new. So Q2 is going to get underway very soon. I think in like 2 minutes time, not even that. So yeah. Ooh, it's getting hot in here. But what a crazy Q1. Can we get this stream to 500 likes, please? Can we hit the thumbs up button? Let's see that go straight up. There's got to be there's 3,000 of you in here. Thank you very much for this Monaco qualifying session. And can we get, surely there's 110 of you, 113 of you who haven't hit the subscribe button. Surely there's 114 of you, sorry, who haven't hit the subscribe button, who could get this channel up to 23,000. It'd be much appreciated. We'll be back tomorrow, of course, for the race also. So yeah, definitely tune in for that. Just watching Anthony Davidson review some laps of traffic, and there's so many cars. It's like Dodgems. The stewards are going to be very, very busy. very, very busy, guys, when it comes to penalties potentially after the race. We'll see how lenient they are, but green lights. Q2 is underway. We go again, guys. We go again. Manchester United will win. Well, they're playing right now, aren't they? Hulkenberg wasting no time to get out there. But if you're just joining us, guys, welcome, welcome. We have lost Alonso, Sargent, Perez. Yes, Sergio Perez in P18 and the 2 Stake F1 cars in a chaotic Q1. I have never seen something like that. That was one of the most chaotic Q1s I think I've ever seen in my life. People, like, positions changing left, right and centre. So there'll be potentially some post-race penalties. We'll see after this session. The stewards will have to analyse the video footage and the data to see if those drivers could do anything more to get out of the way. But yeah, lots of investigations happening. So final grid may not be the final grid once we finish Q3. But thank you for all the subs. I'll see that just jump up to 934. Come on, there's got to be 60 more of you. 60 more of you. Can we get to 23,000 by the end of Q2? What happened to Yuki? He's still there. He's still there, P9. So, yeah, they got through. Now we're going to start to see drivers, more relative pace from the drivers as they have more free air out on circuit. That's important for them. Of course, we know how busy Q3 just got. So, yeah. Who's going to... we know Hulkenberg is the first driver out there to set a lap time, so let's see what he can do. But already looks a little bit less cluttered, doesn't it, with 5 cars gone from the track. Hamilton needs to get out of the way of Alex Albon there as he's joining. An 18.9 in the first sector for Hulkenberg. Very good lap time from him, although that's still half a second off of the fastest first sector from Verstappen. But we know that drivers make up, the Haas seems to be making up that pace difference in the middle sector as Albon goes 18.8. Interesting. Let's keep an eye on Verstappen, shall we? Who has been fastest in the first sector. He does an 8, let's see, as he goes through and does an 18.4. And that is the fastest first sector we have seen in qualifying at the moment. But of course, Q2, as we indicated, is Sector 2 is really where the Red Bull is struggling at the moment. He will pass that Sector 2 line as he comes out of the chicane. As Hulkenberg sets an 11.9. A good first banker lap, but won't be good enough to get him into Q3 for sure, I can imagine. As Gasly comes across the line and starts his lap. Daniel Ricciardo, let's see how he gets on. And he goes P2. A bit slow in the last sector there, unfortunately, for him. So lost a bit of time in the last sector on the Haas of Nico Hulkenberg. Max Verstappen, though, goes a 33.7 in the middle sector. So that has bumped him up a bit on the standings. Let's see how his last sector is. He seems to be recovering a bit of pace there. And he does go top with a 1:11.1 on a brand new set of fresh softs. So good lap time from him. Quicker than the McLaren of Lando Norris. Charles Leclerc goes P2 with a first lap there. So, yeah, lost a bit of time in the first sector, Charles Leclerc, to Max, and wasn't as good in the middle sector as he was before. I don't know if he got held up by a bit of traffic. I didn't see that. But, of course, these drivers right now just want to get through to Q3. That's their main aim, where they'll then push the car. Yuki Tsunoda only just behind Sainz as Sainz heads up to the top with an 11.1. Max Verstappen 22 hundredths of a second behind Sainz there. But let's see Piastri. He's on a lap. How's he getting on? Seems to be going quite nicely. He's fastest at the moment in the middle sector. Not this lap, though, but has set the fastest middle sector out of anyone in qualifying at the moment. And he only heads into P6. But he is on used tyres. He's on 5-lap old soft tyres now. And interestingly for Sainz was on used tyres as well. So traffic's more important, really, than... It's more of an indication of whether you can set a good lap or not than, of course, the tyres. Late coming in. Do I see Perez out already? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Unfortunately, Perez is out. So, how many qualifications will happen? 3. We have 2 more. We have this one and 1 more remaining. We'll lose 5 more drivers, and then we'll have a shootout for the top 10. So all those track limits at turn 1 or turn 10 is just the drivers cutting the corners to get out of the way. There's no penalties for that. Of course, they're not on a flying lap when that happens. Just watching a replay of Nico Hülkenberg as he saw all of the saw a lot of cars lining up in the pit lane, waiting for Nico Hülkenberg to pass. Had a big snap of oversteer, touched the wall through turn 1. Nico Hülkenberg, oof, very very lucky. Slapped the wall, as Martin Brundle says. As Ocon is fastest in the middle sector at the moment, and goes up there into P4, only 1/10 behind Carlos Sainz. Max Verstappen going again, improves that fastest first sector. Max is flying through that first sector at the moment. How does he do in the second sector where he has been struggling? How does he get on? Head through turn 12, a 33.6, so a slight improvement for him there, but still 2/10 off of the fastest time. How much has Alex Albon got in the way here? Second lap on this set of tyres. Goes through turn 9, through Rasgas, through turn 19, the last corner. And I imagine this will put him to the top of the timing sheets. And it does indeed. Well, 1:11.0. Potentially affected by Alex Albon there slightly with an 18.994. But that wasn't much slower than his previous lap. So Max still has it. But we're still yet to see the full might of Charles Leclerc and Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, it seems. But as we said, now is not the time really to push. It's just about getting through to Q3, where we'll then see these guys on the actual limits. So at the moment, we're potentially losing Gasly, Ricciardo, Hülkenberg, Magnussen and Albon. Lance Stroll just up there. Hamilton and Russell on used tyres are just above the drop zone as well. They're yet to do a lap on a fresh set of softs. But let's keep an eye out. Who's on a flying lap at the moment? I'm trying to keep an eye out on any lap times. Albon and Hülkenberg are on a flying lap. So Hülkenberg coming through the last corner now as Stroll dips into the pits. Let's see if he can improve and drag himself out of the bottom 5. He's on a set of used tyres and he cannot improve. A 1:12.0 for Nico Hülkenberg. So they're most definitely going to have to put on a fresh set of softs to improve if they have any opportunity to drag themselves out of Q3. Yuki Tsunoda sitting very pretty up there in P3, by the way, guys, for you Yuki fans, as seeing drivers dip into the pits now to get off of those tyres and put on a brand new set. Let's see if Daniel Ricciardo can improve on this second fast lap on this set of tyres. Can he bring himself out of the bottom 5? He can't. A 1:12.0. So it's getting very tight there down at the bottom. Ricciardo definitely needs some fresh set of softs on, but Yuki Tsunoda definitely putting him to shame as Sainz is out on a brand new set of softs. Who else is on a fast lap? Gasly. Let's keep an eye out on Gasly there as he's heading through the tunnel. Off turn 9, has nice clear track ahead of him, only Nico Hülkenberg to deal with. Ocon reporting one of the harsh drivers of blocking, which kind of looked like a slam dunk. We'll see. How's Gasly getting on? Back to him. He's improving. He's definitely improving on his lap that he's set in a moment, which is a 1:12.4, which isn't really much of a tall order. So let's see how he gets on. Through turn 19, he's currently P5 in the Sector 2 standings, and he drags himself up to P6. A great performance thus far in this qualifying from Gasly ahead of the 2 McLarens. Now we're seeing these drivers get out onto brand new sets of softs, as Hamilton's on a set of softs, a brand new softs. So is Russell. So is Sainz, as we know he's about to start his flying lap. So let's keep an eye out on Sainz, shall we? On a brand new set of softs, let's see how he gets on. So 18.3 is the fastest first sector at the moment for Max Verstappen. Can Sainz improve on that? Of course, if he does, it will go purple. Green means he improves on his best lap thus far, which is a 1:11.1. And he has done a 1:18.6. So not great from Sainz there. Not great, but he is much better through the middle and last sector of the Ferraris than that of the Red Bull of Verstappen in the first sector. That's definitely where the Red Bull is strong. Hamilton was quicker in than Carlos Sainz with an 18.6 also. So Hamilton is improving on this lap, only a 10th or so above the drop zone, so does need to improve. Oscar Piastri an 18.4. Now that is a very good first sector from Oscar Piastri. That's only a 10th off of Max Verstappen, and is quite evidently quicker than the Ferrari in the first sector. Let's see how he hooks up the rest of the lap. Purple in the middle sector from Lewis Hamilton. Carlos Sainz doesn't look like he's going to improve on this lap, I think, unless he has a mega last sector and goes through. And he does improve with a purple last sector, an 11.075. Not quick enough to put him ahead of Verstappen. Of course, it's Q2, but that should be enough to get him into Q3. Hamilton goes up to P3, and he's slightly slower in the last sector there. Otherwise, he would have dragged himself to the top of the timing sheets. How about Piastri as Leclerc is about to start his flying lap? He's gone purple in the second sector, Piastri. So this lap time, if he's got a decent last sector, will put him to the top of the timing sheets. And Oscar Piastri goes P1 with a 10.75. My prediction of an Oscar P2 is definitely still on the cards. So Oscar Piastri definitely looking comfortable as George Russell getting a lot out of that Mercedes car with a sub 11 seconds as well, a 10.9 for him. How about Lando? No, Lando's on his out lap, so ignore Lando just for the time being, guys. But we can see that Verstappen's on a brand new set of softs as well. He's on his out lap. Charles Leclerc. So Charles, here we go. Charles has got a bit of a clean lap. He's an 18.4. That's just off the pace of Piastri last time around. But he is very good in the remainder of this lap. Let's see how he gets on. Sector 2 time will be coming up any second now as he heads into the swimming pool chicane. A 33.4. That's 2 tenths off of Oscar Piastri's time just then. So this will be quick, but it's not going to be as quick as Piastri unless he sets a purple in the last sector. He needs 2 tenths on him. Of course, still only Q2. So it's all about just making sure you get through to that final qualifying session. And he does indeed. And that's only 600ths of a second, 700ths of a second behind Oscar Piastri. But this is going to be a very, very close qualifying in Q3 between Leclerc and Piastri. Let's see how Max does though. Max is about to start his flying lap, so he should be comfortable anyway to get through because he's got an 11 seconds dead. But Norris going well. Norris is going very well, but still 2 tenths off of his teammate in the middle sector. Piastri supreme at the moment in sector 2. Let's see how Norris gets on. He could put himself up ahead of Charles Leclerc here. And he goes P1, 200ths of a second ahead of his teammate Lando Norris, who kind of really hasn't been at the races here this weekend. Seems to be a little bit off it. Puts in a mega last sector there. Ahead of Piastri. Now I look at it, Piastri's last sector time is actually quite slow in comparison to other drivers, so Piastri still has time in hand to improve, that is for sure. But let's concentrate on the bottom 5 at the moment, because it is Gasly, Stroll, Magnussen, Hulkenberg and Ricciardo who are at risk here, and Ocon you would say, and Tsunoda and Albon. Apologies, the bottom 7 there, is that right? If my maths is correct, bottom 8 are all at risk of going out here in this Q2 session. So Daniel Ricciardo coming out onto a brand new set of softs. He really needs to pull his finger out because it doesn't look like it's good for him at the moment. Yuki is on a brand new set of softs as well. They will have plenty of time to get around and start their last lap. Oscar's in the pit lane. Yeah, he's going to be comfortable to get through into Q3. Lando Norris will be as well. Interestingly, Sainz is still going. Yep, Sainz is still going, maybe just to try and secure a couple of extra tenths or another tenth or so for him with those guys on a fresh set of softs. We've seen Gasly already throw in a pretty decent lap and Ocon as well on a brand new set. So we'll see how they get on as Max goes. 18.2 for Max in the first sector and 18.292. That's 2 tenths faster than Norris and Piastri last time around. Let's see how he does in sector 2. We won't get that time until he goes through turn 12 and into the swimming pool chicane. But Leclerc is doing another lap actually. Leclerc's doing another lap, but he's not improving. He's on, this is the second lap on this set of tyres. So don't expect Leclerc to improve here. And he doesn't. He does still a 110. It was a 111.0, but that extra couple of attempts is required with the set of a brand new set of softs. So Verstappen, much better improved there in the middle sector on a fresh set of rubber tyres. Let's see, this could put him to the top of the timing sheets here. And he goes P2, 1300ths of a second. 1300ths of a second. It's so close. It's so close, guys. So close. Q3 is going to be mega. Q3 is going to be mega. Absolutely mega. Guys, if you could hit the like button, it'd be much appreciated. Nearly 5,000 of you here in the stream. Surely there's a number of you who haven't hit that subscribe button as well. Please hit the thumbs up. Get this stream to over 1,000 likes. And if you haven't subscribed already, what are you doing? As we have checkered flag. Checkered flag. So Daniel Ricciardo needs to get this lap time. Is he going to improve and drag himself out the bottom 5? He doesn't. He's only P13. And Yuki Tsunoda at the moment is above the drop zone. Gasly massively improves there, pushing the Mercedes drivers back down. Gasly is really enjoying his time here at Monaco this weekend. How about Alex Albon? Albon is not improving. He comes into the pit lane. And Yuki Tsunoda is the only driver who can really push Albon at risk. How is anyone else out? Yeah, they sit in laps. No, that's it. That's it, isn't it? That's it. So Yuki did improve. He got into P9, and we have lost Ocon, Hulkenberg, Ricciardo, Stroll, and Magnussen in this Q2 session. So Alex Albon, I think that deserves a big round of applause in chat, guys. Albon into Q3. A Williams in Q3 at Monaco. Well done. And Yuki Tsunoda as well. He's at minimum going to be starting 4 positions ahead of his teammates. So, yeah, a great result here for Yuki. Another Q3 session for him. And Alex Albon making the most out of one of the top 6 cars of Sergio Perez, who went out in Q3, gaining that Q3 position. What a drive that has been thus far from Alex Albon. Once again, just putting Logan Sargent to absolute shame. Absolute shame. And you do wonder with Williams, while they do have a poor car, what they could do with a more solid driver lineup. But really good there, guys. So through to Q3 is Lando Norris with the fastest lap time there. Verstappen in P2. As it was last time around at Imola, less than 300ths of a second, 200ths of a second separating the top 3. So close, so close. And Leclerc, less than a tenth as well, 900ths of a second. So the Q3 is going to be mega. Absolutely mega. 23,000 subscribers. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And please hit the like button. Get this stream to over 1,000 likes for qualifying. It'd be much appreciated. It just helps. Just helps push this forward. But yeah, just under 5,000 viewers in this stream. We're getting bigger and better, bigger and better. Morning, Timo. Good to see you guys. Good to see you. But yes, we've just lost Magnussen, Stroll, Ricciardo, Hulkenberg, and Ocon there. And well, Q3 is going to be really, really interesting. Still think Leclerc, of course, is hiding a little bit here. But I tell you what, it could be any sort of order up front. Any sort of order up front with how close those cars are. But how amazing is this? How amazing is this? Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Right, I quickly need a quick loo break before Q3 starts. So in the meantime, please hit that subscribe button. Keep that number rolling over at the top right-hand side of your screen. And if we could get this likes up to 1,000, that'd be absolutely amazing. I'll be back in just a couple of seconds. Come here. Ow. Oh, we're back. We're back. Only gone for a second. Oh. Right, shall we have an update on the sector times, guys? Thank you very much for all the subs coming in. There's too many for me to thank, so just an overall cumulative group thank you. And look, guys, if I haven't been able to catch up with the chat, I do apologise. Of course, just trying to provide this commentary to you all. We'll have a catch up after Q3, that is for sure. But I can see the chat in the corner of my eyes just rolling through. You all seem to be as excited as me. And yeah, Q3 is going to be absolutely mega. What a qualifying session this has been. Let's have an update on the sector times, shall we? Here we go. So we can see here that Verstappen 2 tenths faster than anyone else in the first sector. That's really where he's making up a lot of time. But then he's losing all of that time he gains in the first sector on the other drivers in and more in the second sector. You can see there 3 tenths off of Piastri, who was 2 tenths faster in the middle sector. But then Piastri, I still expect Piastri to be up there fighting for pole. He had a slow last sector there, probably a little bit of a lockup, maybe. I didn't quite see it on TV. An 18.9. So, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that's just over a tenth slower than Norris, and not a lot separating him and those ahead. But that tenth is the difference between him being comfortably on pole and not. So, yeah, Piastri, room for improvements. But yeah, Verstappen really losing a lot of that time in the middle sector, slower than Yuki Tsunoda and Pierre Gasly, of all people. Pierre Gasly is one of the fastest drivers in the middle sector. Absolutely great performance from the Alpine driver up into Q3 for the first time in a long time. And yeah, getting the well-needed win, early win anyway, over his teammate Ocon, who is down in 11th place. So of course he still could only finish start a position ahead or alongside Esteban Ocon, but yeah, getting into Q3 is a well-needed win for Gasly, who's struggled at the start of this season, isn't he? So Verstappen running a low downforce setup, which aero could give him some advantage. They're all running low downforce. They're all running very high downforce setups. No one's running a low downforce setup. They've all got the maximum rear wing that is available to them, the Monaco specific wing, and yeah, the car's just bouncing a lot through the middle sector, so they have to ride the curb a bit through the middle sector as well, and the rear's stepping out and it just looks twitchy. So we'll see, but we've seen Verstappen pull it out of the bag before. Is that advantage through sector 1? He seems to be finding a bit more time in the last sector now compared to other drivers. He was struggling in Q2. He was struggling in the practice sessions with the last sector as well. We'll see if that's because the other drivers just holding back a little bit. But Q3 is where it happens, guys. We're going to see these drivers on the real limit. Here, guys, in this Q3. This is where things get tasty and interesting. Red Bull's RB's problem is mechanical grip rather than aero. Yeah, that's basically it, especially at these low speed corners like Monaco. So McLaren are able to get at least one of the front row with their pack through all the sectors. Yeah, my prediction, I'm still sticking with my prediction. Leclerc P1, Piastri P2, Norris P3. And I think Verstappen won't be in the top 3. I said not the top 5, but we'll see. He seems to have found a bit of pace, as I expected him to do. But here we go. Green light, guys. Let's hit that like button. Let's get this stream to over 1,000 likes. I need only less than 300 more likes to get this stream to 1,000. We hit over 23,000 subscribers. So big thank you to everyone who has subscribed in this stream. Too many of you to thank, but trust me, I appreciate every single one of you. We are in for the most important qualifying session now of the year. This is where it matters. Pole position, lining up at least on the front row, is essential here at Monaco, especially in the modern era of F1. It's been more important than it's ever been throughout the history of F1. It's always been important, but more so now with these cars and the size of them. Who is going to be on pole position? Who's going to be the top 3 after what you've seen now in the first qualifying sessions? Let me know. Who do you think is going to be on pole position? I don't want your top 3. Let me know. Is it going to be Leclerc? Is it going to be Verstappen? Is it going to be one of the McLarens of Norris or Piastri? Or are we going to see Sainz throw a spanner in the works? The Mercedes haven't looked like slouches either. Are we going to see a shock Mercedes front row potentially? But let me know. Who do you think is going to be on pole position? Let me know in the chat right now. If you just joined, it's Q3. It's Q3. Carlos Sainz is coming round the last corner to start the first lap in this Q3 session. We've got Albon, Tsunoda and Gasly who have dragged themselves through into Q3 with both Aston Martins out and Perez as well in Q1. But here we go. This is where it matters. So Carlos Sainz Currently 11th fastest in the first sector. Really needs to sort out this first sector to have any opportunity of getting pole position today. Don't ever write Carlos Sainz off. Doesn't quite look to have the same pace as his teammate Leclerc here this weekend. But, of course, Sainz, we know he can drag it out the bag. And that's a poor first sector for Carlos Sainz. So this lap is already a write-off for him, a 19.8. Unless he's going for an additional warm-up lap. But what a first sector there from Lewis Hamilton, an 18.4, the fastest he has set all day today. That is only 2 tenths. That is only a tenth off of Verstappen. So a great first sector there from Lewis Hamilton. Let's see how he gets on. He won't pass through the second sector until he goes through turn 12, but Verstappen and Leclerc now on their laps as well. I'm sure purple sectors will be taken away from Lewis Hamilton by those two drivers. Max has been quickest all day in sector 1 compared to the others, as Lewis is actually faster than Charles Leclerc through the first sector. He's fastest through the second sector. That's faster than Carlos Sainz for sure, who had a very poor first sector. How about Verstappen? Verstappen is on a second warm-up lap, as he's on a second out lap. Verstappen isn't going for it. He isn't going for it unless he made a mistake in the first sector, Verstappen. But Lewis goes in there with a 10.9. We have seen a lap time faster than that in Q2, but it's a good bank up for Lewis Hamilton. Of course, with these drivers pushing on the limit, a red flag and a yellow flag is entirely possible, as Leclerc goes 5 tenths faster than Lewis Hamilton through that middle sector. So that was actually a bit of a slow lap time from Lewis in the middle sector there, as he's gone half a second quicker in the middle sector. Charles Leclerc, where was he been able to hook up this last sector? Is still going to be on pole position, a 10.4, half a second faster than Lewis Hamilton. And, well, Piastri's going faster in the middle sector. That's the sector he's owned this whole qualifying session, only a tenth slower in the first sector. It's all about the last one. Oh, 0.02 of a second separating Piastri there to Leclerc. All of that time difference was in the first sector, as Norris also has made a mistake there in the middle sector as well. Half a second off of Charles Leclerc, but that's so close between Leclerc and Piastri there. Even though we got 2 purple sectors in the middle and last, that 10th difference in the first sector is why Piastri is 0.02 of a second off of your provisional pole of Charles Leclerc. Verstappen now, though, he's done an additional warm-up lap. Fastest in the first sector, 2 tenths faster than Charles Leclerc, but we know that he loses that time in the middle. Let's see if he's able to hook this up. Of course, Max is going to be pushing every inch of that Red Bull car. It's not quite been at the races here this weekend, not been where he wants it to be, but we saw him at Imola last time around dig deep and get pole position when no one thought he would. He's going to try and maintain that 100% pole position record as George Russell goes up and beats his teammate Lando Norris in P4 at the moment. He's done a good qualifying thus far. A 33.4 for Max Verstappen, much better than he's ever done, but that's still 3 tenths off of Max Verstappen. He's still about a tenth behind Charles Leclerc, if my quick maths are correct. He has been improving in this last sector. Is he able to gain that time back and snatch provisional pole away from the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc? No! P3, and he is 1.5 tenths behind Charles Leclerc, and he is 1 full tenth behind Oscar Piastri. And you would say, by the basis of that, the time that Max Verstappen is losing in that middle sector is the difference between him being on pole position, not being on pole position right now. He is absolutely mega in that first sector, faster than anyone by about 2 tenths, but then he loses more time than he gains on the other drivers around him in the second sector. And, well, it wasn't his best last sector by any means. Still about a full tenth and a half off of Oscar Piastri and Charles Leclerc. But, yes, at the moment, it is Charles Leclerc, your provisional pole from Oscar Piastri, 0.02 of a second. Max Verstappen in P3, 1.5 tenths off. Carlos Sainz, 2.5 tenths off. Russell, 5 tenths off. Half a second. Lando Norris, I think, made a slight mistake somewhere, which is why he is half a second off. Also, Hamilton, half a second off. So you would expect, really, that Hamilton, Norris and Russell can improve, as well as Sainz. This is not over by any means, guys, whatsoever. Whew. One more opportunity, guys. One more opportunity. Alex Albon in P10. Gasly quicker than Tsunoda and Albon at the moment, so great drive from him. That's the best he can expect, is to finish ahead of Tsunoda and Albon. But wow. They're in the pits because they're coming in for a fresh set of tyres. They won't go quicker on a used set, so they'll be coming in and putting on some fresh sets. You can see there, apologies, I've completely missed the boat there. Norris was on a set of used tyres in that first run of Q3, which is interesting. So he will be much quicker in the last run of Q3, that is for sure. Everyone else ahead of him and Hamilton around him, all set times on brand new sets of tyres. So Norris will improve. You Lando fans out there, I do expect him to be very close up there to Piastri and Leclerc. I still think he'll be P3. But I think it's definitely between Leclerc and Piastri. Max is quick. 100% is quick. He's just losing too much time in that middle sector compared to the other drivers at the moment. Ooh. Yeah, Verstappen reporting he's still seeing issues in turn 5 and turn 10, the chicane. So probably struggling with the front turning. It may be on the exit. The car did look very twitchy. But big thank you to everyone who has been subscribing throughout this stream and liking the stream as well. Come on, let's get this stream to over 1,000 likes. There's 6,000 of you in here for qualifying as we are heading into the closing stages of the most important qualifying session of the year. Charles Leclerc is currently your provisional pole in P1. We have Piastri 0.02 of a second behind him in P2. Verstappen 1.5 tenths in P3. But who is going to be on pole position? We've seen drivers lose control in the last lap of Q3 before while they're on the limit pushing. So this could be essential for Charles Leclerc getting that provisional pole and for Oscar Piastri also. But Sainz and Verstappen out there on a brand new set of softs. They're going to be out there first, trying to be in the ascendancy and get a lap in because, as we said, it could be important. If a yellow flag comes out, time runs out. They're only going to get one more opportunity at a lap. And if you're too late out on track, then yes, your lap time could be unfortunately ruined. So here we go, guys. Big thank you to everyone who's been subscribing and liking the button. Smash the like button. Let's do this. Right, here we go, guys. Only just under 3 minutes remaining of this Q3 session. Who is going to be on pole position? Do we think Leclerc is going to maintain it? Can Piastri improve on that minute difference between him and Leclerc at the moment? They've been neck and neck. So here we go. Carlos Sainz, he is going to be the first man. We'll keep an eye on Max, who is also second out on track as well. Carlos Sainz needs to improve. 2.5 tenths behind Carlos, his teammate at the moment there. You can see the gap. He only needs a tenth or so to improve and get ahead of Max Verstappen. But Carlos Sainz, let's see as he heads down into turn 5, we'll get that first sector time. And it's a 19.9. So, okay. So I may be jumping a little bit ahead of myself here. Drivers may just be doing a second outlap. Are drivers doing a second outlap? They are indeed drivers doing a second outlap. Okay, so I'll reserve myself just a little bit longer. Of course, if you're wondering why drivers are doing this, Monaco, there's very little load put through the tyres. They're requiring an extra lap to get those tyres up to temperature. But we can see George Russell, an 18.2 through the first sector. That's faster than Max Verstappen. Where has that come from? George Russell absolutely on fire. Can he hook up the rest of the lap here? Looks like Charles Leclerc's going for it. He's not waiting around. Let's see what his first sector time is like. Keep an eye out when he heads through turn 4 and turn 5. But George Russell, purple in the first sector. That is surprisingly quick from the Mercedes driver as he heads through turn 12 into the swimming pool complex and a bit slow through the middle sector. So that's similar to Max Verstappen, where he gains that time in the first sector, he loses it in the second. But Leclerc is quicker, and Piastri is quicker than Leclerc. While it's not purple, it's quicker than their previous laps. Max Verstappen is now starting his lap. We'll see how he gets on. But Charles Leclerc is improving on his lap. Can Oscar Piastri improve on the second sector time, where he has been fastest all weekend? Charles Leclerc's second sector time is going to come up right now on your screen of 33.1. It is an improvement, but it's not the fastest of anyone in this session. It's not faster than his fastest lap last time around. Piastri, let's see if he improves. He doesn't. Piastri lost 2 tenths in the middle sector, so it's all in Leclerc's hands, really. Can he improve on this 10.4 he's currently set? He does. He goes 2 tenths faster with a purple last sector, and he's currently your provisional pole, improving on that 10.4. Oscar Piastri, does improve as well. Does a 10.4, but that's 1.5 tenths back from Charles Leclerc. So at the moment, it is a front row of Charles Leclerc and Oscar Piastri. How about Carlos Sainz? He's improving as well, but looks like he's a little bit off of his teammates. And he moves up into P3 and pushes the Mercedes of George Russell down. Very close between those, only 0.02 of a second. How about Lando Norris? Lando only goes P4. So it's currently a Ferrari, McLaren on the second and front row. But what about Max Verstappen? He's made a mistake. Max has made a mistake. Max has made a mistake. He is not going to be able to set a lap here, and he is outside of the top 5. What did I predict? What did I predict in FP3? Mystic Stuffey. But Max Verstappen, I don't know where he's made a mistake, but Max has had an issue somewhere and is in P6. Wow. So our front row 4, or our first and second row of Monaco, the 2024 Grand Prix, is Charles Leclerc in P1 at his home circuit. This time around, with no gearbox issue to worry about, he will be making it to the grid tomorrow, and he will have an opportunity to win his first race at his home circuit for the first time ever. Oscar Piastri, great drive from him. Just that mistake, slight little mistake that he made in the second sector is the difference between him being on pole position and not in P2, as Carlos Sainz in P3 there. Lando Norris P4. George Russell pulling it out the bag there at the end with a oh, bless me. With a P5. Max Verstappen, not entirely sure what happened with Max. I'm still waiting to see the TV coverage to see why he bowed out. Did he improve on his previous lap? I don't think he did. In P6, Hamilton P7, Tsunoda in P8. Well done, Yuki. Starting 5 positions ahead of his teammate Ricciardo in 13th. Albon 9th, Gasly 10th. So what was looking so good for Gasly is now only 1 position ahead of his teammate Ocon. Ocon in 11th, Hulkenberg 12th, Ricciardo 13th, Stroll 14th, Magnussen 15th, Alonso in 16th. Not a great weekend qualifying for the Aston Martin. Sargent 17th, and yes, your eyes are not deceiving you, that is Perez in 18th position. Not a very good weekend for the Red Bulls. Bottas in 19th, Zhou in 20th. Wow. I predicted it. I got 2 out of the top 3 right. I was close. Sainz ruined it for me. I nearly had the prediction of Max Verstappen not starting in the top 5 tomorrow. And the top 3 right. I was so close. Thank you, Jay. Thank you. You see that, Adrian? Yeah, you see that? I was right. Max said he hit the wall. Max and the car is slippery as hell. So, yeah, Max hit the wall. What turn was that? Oh, Max hit the wall out of turn 1. I told you, I knew it. As soon as he had to properly push in that car, I just had a feeling it was going to go over the limit. It just wasn't there this weekend for Max Verstappen. That's not down to him. He's done the best he can with the tools capable to him. But the Red Bull, quite evidently, not liking it here at Monaco. And yeah, look, maybe he can gain a position at the start, but you would expect that Charles Leclerc, the top 3, maybe Norris, bit of strategy. But look at that. We have a top 4 without a Max Verstappen, a top 5 without Max Verstappen. How long has that been? Wow. Big thank you to everyone who has subbed. And if you can hit the like button, come on, just over 50 likes to get this stream to 1,000. What a qualifying session that was. I hope everyone has enjoyed this stream. We'll be back, of course, for the race tomorrow. But wow, what a qualifying session. Q1 was absolutely crazy. Every qualifying session was crazy there. I never really don't have opportunity. Never really am I not able to look at chat. Because I'm so focused on qualifying. But yeah, so much happening. Yep, see you tomorrow, Mark. Big thank you to everyone. Yeah, if you can hit the like button and subscribe on your way out, it'd be much appreciated. We're still I'm gonna just go sit back for a second and just take a breather of what was a manic. It's a bit hot in here. A manic qualifying session. Wow. Wow. Oscar almost looks a bit disappointed he's not on pole position. Woo. Woo. Thank you, Corinne. Yeah, thank you, guys. Wow. Wow. Well, those of you who predicted Leclerc on pole, you got it correct. Myself included. Got it correct. Oscar Piastri pushed him all the way to the end. I thought it would be a bit closer. I thought we'd see the top 3 separated, or top 5 separated by like less than a tenth. But yeah, Charles Leclerc pulling it out of the bag. That first sector was mega. Absolutely mega. Just looking, if you look at the overall sector times in the end, guys. So Max Verstappen second there in sector 1, but then when it came to sector 2, P6, 3 tenths down on Leclerc and Piastri, and then when it came to sector 3, it's a little bit closer there. It's a bit kind of deceiving. He's only a tenth off of Charles Leclerc and Norris. Well, the top 4 really. He's a tenth off of them, but it's still not where you'd expect Max Verstappen to be. No. Unfortunate magic sector 3 that we saw last year here at the Monaco Grand Prix, where he made an unbelievable pole position. But wow. Ferrari ruined Leclerc race. I'm done. Surely it can't happen. They're a different Ferrari this year. They're a different Ferrari. Keep it up. Thank you, Christina. Thank you. Everyone else was pushing hard. Yeah, everyone was pushing hard. Absolutely everyone was pushing hard. And that's why, obviously, we saw Max. I'm surprised we didn't see a crash in qualifying. I'm quite surprised we didn't see a crash. But those drivers were on the limit. Max, that car just, the rear just doesn't look comfortable. The rear of the car just, sliding too much. Not very well balanced, that Red Bull. And, yeah. Piastri is turns 5, 6, and 7. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's absolutely loving it through there. What's my thoughts on Stroll beating Alonso for the 4th time in a row? Is it 4th time in a row? Wow. Credit where it's due, because Alonso's no slouch, of course, we know, so. 2 seconds, guys. Just need to go clear my nose out. So we'll be back in a second, and we'll just take it all in. It gives us just a couple of seconds to take in what was in a mega qualifying session. 2 minutes. Not even that. Well, what an absolute... Yeah, sorry, man. I started to get all, like, blocked up and stuff afterwards. I don't know why, but, wow. Just how good... I know it's Monaco. Don't get me wrong, Monaco, a unique circuit, but this is the 2nd race in a row. 3rd race in a row where the Red Bull is not supreme. It's not supreme. We've got Max outside of the top 5. Outside of the top 5. Unbelievable. Just that Red Bull just starting to... We're starting to see chinks in its armour. And that's not because of Max. Max is getting the most out of that car as he possibly can. He always has done. But we're starting to see that Red Bull... Miami wasn't great. It wasn't that good on the tyres compared to the McLaren. We come to Imola, where arguably, yes, he had a great first stint on the medium tyre, but he wasn't the fastest car that weekend. You would say the McLaren was again. And then we come here at Monaco, and it struggled 3 races in a row. So that's... I mean, I'm still going to be reserved. I still think they'll win races, of course. I don't think this is like all Red Bull's completely over and done with. But when it comes to Barcelona, we're going to Circuit Villeneuve next, aren't we? Canada, and then we've got Barcelona after that. The more traditional circuits, GP circuits. I'm sure it will come back into its own. But yeah, how good is this for us fans and F1? Unbelievable there. Unbelievable. Does Red Bull have the Mercedes back end? What a ring to commit Adrian Newey. Are there any penalties that might be given? Potentially, yes, Merso. No one in the top 5, I think, will get a penalty. If anyone, I think Carlos Sainz was impeded. I don't think he did any impeding. I think Max is going to be investigated. Yeah, there could be some post-race, post-qualifying penalties. We'll see. The stewards are going to be doing a lot of investigating at the end of afterwards. So, but I think the top 5 is untouched, at least. So the top 5 won't change. Perez had McDonald's before. But yeah, Perez, we know Perez doesn't have the same skill. He's not as fast as Max. He was struggling with the Red Bull as well. And look, Perez is the king of the streets. He's done really well at Monaco, won Monaco, does really well at street circuits. And for him to go out in Q1 is shocking. But once again, we were saying yesterday, Perez now, with the racing being so much closer, he's not even in P7. He's not even got into Q3 while struggling, so that he can be at least there as a support for his teammate and allow the team to try something maybe a bit different with strategy. Force McLaren and Ferrari to do something maybe a bit different. But they can't do that. They can't do that like they did last week at Imola with him starting in 11th, not making really that much progression. And then they're going to be able to use him. The only way they might be able to use him actually at Monaco is a bit different, is like keep him out there as long as possible and hold everyone up. That's probably how I'll see Perez deployed tomorrow, if he even can make himself up that far the grid, but I don't think he will. So yeah, it's very, very worrying if you're a Perez fan. Very worrying. His seat a couple of races ago, you would have said, no, there's no need to replace him. Changes so quickly in F1. As soon as there's more competition, that's really where you earn your money. So hopefully it won't be boring. It's going to be boring. I'm going to bring your expectations down low now, Leo. Great qualifying session. There's not going to be any overtaking between the top 4, let's be honest. They'll probably run nose to nose for quite a lot of the race. The race is going to be won or lost in the pits. With strategy. That's where the race is going to be won or lost. Which still makes it intriguing. It just means that we have to wait for the pit stops and see who is going to... Tomorrow, with the commentary, I'm going to make you guys aware. We're going to be keeping an eye out on the gaps. We need to keep an eye out on the pit loss time because these teams are going to be looking for a gap in out on track for these drivers to get some clean air and to set some decent lap time. That's how they're going to make up positions tomorrow. Any team, for that matter, and that's definitely how... Well, Piastri, Sainz or Norris are going to improve. Piastri, of course, has the opportunity of getting a good start and beating Leclerc into the first corner, as well as the drivers behind. But yeah, this race is going to be won or lost in the pits, most probably. So, defense strats, yeah. But anything can happen. It's Monaco. It's Monaco. Should have placed that bet on Verstappen. I did look, Gabriel. I did look, but there wasn't a qualifying bet on offer. It was only for the race. So I was like, damn. But yeah, Mystic Stuffeyy, eh? I was only one position away with Norris in the top 3 for having a full house of guessing my top 3 and Verstappen outside the top 5. So if Leclerc takes the pole, maybe he can win, but I don't afraid Leclerc. No, Ferrari strategy. Ferrari are not Ferrari of old. Since Fred Vasseur has come in, he's made personnel changes. There's a new head of strategy. Look, Xavier's gone now. No more. We are chicken anymore. So there's a whole new kind of like pit wall being introduced. Their pit stops have been much smoother, much quicker. So Fred Vasseur has come in and he's helped revitalise that team, and they're definitely moving in the right direction. So. Probably not related, but the comments about not needing Adrian Newey going to age as well as potentially. No more weird checking, exactly, Taco, exactly. There may be a safety car where it turns everything upside down. Yeah, but the problem with the safety car is that it's not a standing restart. So these drivers, Leclerc can control the pace. You're not able to get up alongside that driver anymore, are you? So a safety car isn't really going to do much. It may. I mean, the only thing it will do, a safety car, is mix up the strategy. People may be taking advantage of it, but mostly it's not going to do a lot in regards to actual racing on track. Oscar can sit behind Charles, watch how his tyres are going, and dive for the box and undercut. That's where we need... Yeah, this is where Monaco is won or lost, and this is where Monaco's interesting, is the strategy, not the actual racing out on circuit. So, and that's what we need to keep an eye out on tomorrow. Of course, join me tomorrow, guys, for the pre-race chat. So I'll be going live 45 minutes before the race. Of course, we have a look at the Pirelli graphics in regards to the tyre allocations. We have a look at the tyre strategy as well that is on offer, so we can make some notes and keep up to date on what the teams have got to keep an eye out for. I'll have a look at what the pit loss time is at Monaco. Of course, it's not the largest pit loss time here, like it was at Imola, where we've gone from one of the longest in F1 to 28 seconds. I think it's maybe about 17, 18 seconds at Monaco. But yeah, gaps out on track. I think tomorrow we can always rely on Kevin Magnussen. Provide some drama for us with him lining up alongside Lance Stroll. So I think we can look forward to Kevin Magnussen putting on a show for us tomorrow. He'll get Sendy. Anytime Lance Stroll lines up, tight race circuit. Maybe Logan Sargent. Bank on him throwing out a safety car for us. So yeah, good to see you tomorrow, Daisy. But yeah, Hamilton. I see you coming, Davey. Yeah, Hamilton, P7, 3.5 tenths off of P1. Yeah, expected him to get at least ahead of George Russell. So George will be very happy about that. But looks like the difference was that George Russell was fastest in the first sector. He took a tenth off of his teammate in that first sector on his last lap. And that's the difference between him being in P5 and Hamilton being in P7. To be honest with you. So Hamilton was faster in the second and third sector than his teammate, only just. But yeah, George was a tenth and a bit quicker in that first sector, and that's where he beat Hamilton today to that fifth position. Red Bull kindest finish this year, next year. I think we'll see very much fighting. Yeah, look, this is all we wanted. We just wanted multi-team battles, drivers fighting for the win. Yeah, it's just a shame that Monaco is not a track where obviously there's a lot of on-track. there's no on-track overtaking. But look, we have still plenty of races ahead of us, guys. 24 races this season. This is only the 8th round of the year. So we still have, 16 races remaining? A lot of racing still to be done, some sprint races as well, and the competition's just getting closer and closer. But I think this is quite evident that Red Bull have reached a ceiling in their upgrades, in their performance. They had such a advantage over everyone else. It was only a matter of time until these teams caught up to them. It was more so when, not if. And I didn't expect it to be this soon. But I'm happy that it's this soon, and I'm happy that I'm wrong. So, see you tomorrow, Alec. Do I think Latifi was better than Sargent? No. No, Latifi was horrendous, let's be honest with you. Nice guy, but not great. So, do I think Mercedes will beat Red Bull? What, tomorrow? Yeah. Well, they already are, because Perez is down in 18th. Will they beat Max? Maybe. I'm intrigued to see how that Red Bull is tomorrow in race trim. Not that really Max can go anywhere. The thing is, Max is out of position. We might see some bolshy moves from Max. But let's have a look at the driver standings, actually. I'm intrigued to see. Let's say Max didn't finish tomorrow, right? This is purely hypothetical, guys. So, if Max didn't finish tomorrow and Charles Leclerc won, and Lando, let's say the finishing positions are where they are, right? Charles Leclerc is on 113 points. Max Verstappen is on 161. So with 125 points, he would be promoted to 100 and... let's have a look here. My maths is terrible. He's like 138 points. What is that back from? So 161... 161, take away 138. would leave Charles Leclerc 23 points behind Max Verstappen. Purely hypothetical, of course, but yeah, we love doing it. But Max can't go gun-ho tomorrow. He can't do something that might potentially put him out of the race, because that would mean that he's less than a race win behind, in front of Charles Leclerc. Now, that could be 22 points, actually, if Charles Leclerc secures fastest lap as well. And Lando's on 101 points. I thought Lando was a bit closer, actually, because Sergio Perez is third with 107. But, yeah. All it takes is for Leclerc to win and for Max Verstappen to have one non-finish. And it's less than a race win difference between the top two. Crazy. Rambo is maxed out. They can only improve so much more. Exactly, Baddy. I think they've hit a ceiling. I think they definitely have hit a ceiling. I think Adrian Newey said that as well. He said, look, the gains that we can make now are like very small compared to what the other teams are. But it doesn't mean that they're not going to win races. Of course not. There'll be tracks where they're still very dominant, I imagine. But it will be much closer now across all circuits than it ever has been. Just look at the last 3 races. So. Of course I am, Tin Can. I'll be live tomorrow. Yeah, we'll be live 45 minutes before the race starts. And I'm also hosting the Mr. Apex podcast tomorrow, guys, as well. You can tune into that live over on YouTube, or you can catch that and listen to it on your Monday morning commute via Spotify and other podcast platforms as well. So, yeah, Spanners is taking a well-earned break, as he normally does each year with MONACO. And look, I'm hoping the one time he has taken a break is the most interesting MONACO race we've had for years. So yeah, I'll be hosting that tomorrow. So you can get more of me tomorrow evening if you want to. Now with so many rounds left, we could have a fight in our hands. Yeah, who would have thought that at the start of the season, eh? But this is the first time this year Max Verstappen hasn't been on pole position, guys. Not only is he not on pole position, he's not in the top 5. He's not on the front row. He's not in the top 3. He's not on the second row. He's on the 3rd row. P6. This is the quality results, Canna. Yeah, your eyes are not deceiving you. What time tomorrow, Nyla? Race will be starting 2 o'clock UK time. So I'll be live 45 minutes before the race starts. I will be, after this stream, setting it up so you can turn your notifications on, you can bookmark the stream, and yeah, you'll get alerted half an hour before I go live. So yeah, that's the benefit of YouTube, which is good. And on Twitch as well. I'm also streaming live on Twitch. I apologise if there have been Twitch comments. I have absolutely no idea. My multi-stream chat is a little bit intermittent at the moment, but if you I've seen a couple of follows on Twitch, so big thank you if you have. Starting to do a bit of multi-streaming, so yeah, good to see you, Helena. Spanners will be pissed if he sits out the race of the season. Nah, he'll be fine. He'll stand by his laurels. Qualifying's over, Destiny. Yeah, I did call it. I'm gonna go clip it. Well, I've got a clip of it. I'm gonna go make it into a short straight after this. Straight after this stream, it'll be straight up there. Yeah, mystic Stuffeyy, eh? But I really didn't think it was going to be the case. But yeah, Max just had to bail out straight away because he hit the barrier on his last flying lap out of turn 1. That's why, yeah, him pushing rear of that Red Bull is just not looking happy at the moment. Not looking happy. But we're over 1,000 likes. Big thank you, everyone. We've had over, I can't remember how many viewers we had. I think we had like, it says we had a peak here of 7,000 viewers. So that's crazy for a qualifying stream. Yeah. Absolutely bizarre. Will we see a peak viewership of over 9,000 tomorrow? Who knows? But yeah, absolutely amazing. Amazing how much quicker the cars are this year. McLaren gained 2 seconds. Yeah, it was bound to happen, but that gap would close. McLaren have been great with their development. Ferrari, since Fred Vasseur comes in, I think a lot of credit has to go to him. He steadied that ship, put them back on course in the right direction. And yeah, I mean, we've mentioned it before, but it's looking like a masterstroke of a move, isn't it? Again, for Lewis Hamilton. Like, if it's like this now, I mean, yeah, he's at least going to have a competitive car next year before we even head into the new regs, which are always an unknown. So, What are the odds Verstappen loses the championship in the last race of the season? Imagine. I wonder if Verstappen brought a simulator. No special event races this weekend, Dev. He doesn't need to bring his simulator. He lives in Monaco. He can walk back home from the track to his setup. So that was a huge stream for quality. Yeah, it was, James. Yeah, see you tomorrow, buddy. You was busy with London Derby. Just opened. How the hell are Alex and Pierre in Q3? And what the hell happened to number 11? I know, Vardan. Look where Max is. P6. Charles Leclerc on pole. Piastri second. Sainz third. Norris fourth. Russell fifth. Verstappen sixth. Yes, your eyes are not... You did hear correctly there. Verstappen sixth. Hamilton seventh. Yuki in P8. Great from Yuki once again. In an RB car. Imagine what he could do in a Red Bull car. Potentially lining up for that Red Bull seat. He's got to be in the question, surely, especially with Perez performing the way he did today. Albon P9, Gasly P10, Ocon 11th, Hulkenberg 12th, Ricciardo 13th, Stroll 14th, Magnussen 15th, Alonso 16th, Sargent 17th. Perez, yes, only faster than the two Stake F1 cars. I'm going to say he's technically last. I'm going that with Perez. He's technically last in 18th because the Stake F1 cars might as well have not turned up this weekend. So, no, Monaco won't get deleted. No, it will still be here. What are my predictions for tomorrow? I do think Leclerc will win, and I hope he does win. I think Piastri will finish second. I do think Norris will get ahead of Sainz at some point, but that's about it. Am I... Oh, do I make another bold call? Fuck it, let's do it. Max Verstappen doesn't win the race. We know that's an easy call. Max Verstappen doesn't win the race tomorrow. Max Verstappen doesn't finish the race tomorrow. Not even finish outside the points. I'm going to say Max Verstappen doesn't finish the race. Whether that be due to an incident, trying to overtake, or whether that be due to a mechanical issue. I'm going for it again. Bold call. It's mainly just for hope of like Charles Leclerc wins, and there's less than a race win in difference between Verstappen and Leclerc after Monaco in the championship. That's mainly just wishful thinking. But is that a prediction or a spoiler? Leclerc, Oscar Lewis, podium. Maybe. Is a pass at Monaco impossible? It's not impossible. It's just very, very difficult and very risky with the size of these cars now. So you've got to remember as well, like how the visibility in these cars is also something people don't take in consideration. We've already seen drivers in these new regs turn into corners when they thought cars weren't there. Like so many more of those sort of incidents of drivers turning in because of drivers in other cars in their blind spot. Monaco's the same. So home winner Leclerc. Yeah, we hope so. I do hope so. I do hope Leclerc does it. He deserves it. He's been the fastest man. The only practice session he wasn't fastest in was FP1, and yeah, he deserves it. He deserves to be to win this race tomorrow, and it'd be great. I think it's always good to see drivers win their home races as well. There's always that feel-good factor, isn't there? So Max will overpush and crush. Well, that's kind of my suspicion. That's my suspicion is that we saw in quali already him pushing and what happens. What's he got to do when he's in a car that he doesn't feel comfortable in? He's got to push and he can't overtake George Russell of all people, you know? Like, we know George doesn't give room to Max either. What if Lewis gets ahead of Max, you know, at the start, which is very possible? Like, we're going to see a very frustrated Max, and it'd be interesting to see how he handles that tomorrow. Personally, Max tomorrow is just about him trying to get as many points as he possibly can tomorrow, minimising the damage that is this weekend for the Red Bull team. Will Sainz back up the pack to help Charles? A good pit window being a good number 2 driver? No. Why should he? I don't think he will. There's no sentiment between him and Charles. he's on his way out the door. We said this previously. He'll be thinking purely of himself, and I don't blame him for thinking of himself. There's no sentiment that it's Leclerc's home race. He wants to win the race as much as Leclerc. So, no, Max, turn into me. I have no grip. But nearly 1:30 AM down under. See you later tonight. Looking forward to this one. Hopefully a Charles home win. Yes. Yeah, tonight for you. Not won't be tonight for me, but yeah. Firstly, I hope that in case Verstappen has an incident, it's with Russell at the start, but not with Lewis. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, guys, that is, at the moment, our provisional grid for tomorrow. The reason why I say provisional is that there are some investigations that are happening for impeding. As, well, this is Monaco, after all, not a lot of room out on circuit. Most of it happened in Q1 and Q2. I don't think there was any impeding in Q3. Max Verstappen is one of those drivers who was being who actually got in the way of Carlos Sainz, I think it was. So I think everyone below, from Max below, there's a couple of investigations on them. I don't think the top 5, the order will change, because I don't think any of those drivers are under investigation. But there is potential that there are post-qualifying penalties, grid place penalties, that could potentially be dished out, and those will be free place grid penalties. So we'll see if the order changes at all come tomorrow afternoon. So, what do you think? Who would be at P1? Well, Leclerc. I predicted Leclerc, and Leclerc is P1, and I think he'll win tomorrow as well. So. Which side is racing line in Monaco? Odd grid or even grid? I think the odd grid. Yeah, I think Leclerc starts on the racing. He starts on the racing line when it comes to the start-finish straight, yes. But then he heads into the first corner. If he's on the inside, he's off the racing line. So that's why there's always an opportunity for P2 to get ahead. But they don't always get a good start because they're on like the dirty side. But then they end up on the clean side. It transitions. The initial phase of the start, they're on the dirty side, and then that's why you see drivers like get round the outside because they're on the more grippier line. So we'll see. But they have to make a good, they have to get that initial good launch, don't they? So Lewis investigated. Was he investigated? I don't think he was. So they just cut P2 off anyway. Yeah, the thing is, like with these cars, like it's so tough. But we'll see, we'll see. Odd grid starts on the clean side, ends up on the dirty side. So, because initially they're close to the wall here as they run across the start-finish line. So that's the clean side. And then as they move up to turn 1, they move over to the left-hand side, about here, halfway across. So the left-hand side is dirty. Then it transitions to clean, so you have more grip round the outside. Whereas P1 will get probably an initial better launch, normally anyway, and then they end up on the dirty side, and they've got a more of an acute angle, of course, into turn 1. Unless they get that much better launch and they know they're a car length ahead, then they can just drive out to the corner and commit to it. So we'll see, we'll see. Apologies, Antonio. I'm not entirely sure of the translation there. We'll see overtake by Max, or that's just a fantasy. I don't know. I think he's going to go for it, but he's in a car that's very twitchy. So, is there 2 of you in the chat right now who haven't subscribed? Is there 2 of you in the chat right now who haven't subscribed? We are 2 away from 23,200. It's been an absolute mega stream. I think it's about 500 subs this stream, something of that like. Big thank you. Community just keeps growing here. These watch-alongs keep getting bigger and better. I mean, if you said to me that I would have had 700 viewers at the start for a qualifying session, as there's that many of you now just sitting here chatting with me, I would have taken your hand off for that at the start of the season. So the fact of yeah, we've got that. Those of you chatting now is great. So are the people registered already done in qualifying? Yes, that's it. So hey, there we go. Thank you guys. Thank you. That looks so much better. My OCD now is is happy. My OCD's happy. Big thank you. I don't know if any of you are like that in chat. I can't have the TV remote on an odd number unless it's a 5. I can have it in 5s. It's the only odd number I can have, but I can't have it on say like 13, 17. Has to be an odd number or like a 5 or like in 5s, if you know what I mean. That's just my view. So bit weird. Will Leclerc get his first title soon? Potentially. Look, this is grand feelings of grandeur or whatever. I don't know what's the right word. Like ideas of grandeur. But as we said, let's say hypothetically, and say I'm going to end the stream. Hypothetically, Max Verstappen tomorrow DNFs or finishes outside the points, and Charles Leclerc wins and he gets fastest lap, which is very highly possible, most likely, sorry. He'll be only 22 points behind Max Verstappen with 8 rounds completed in the championship with 16 left. 16 left to go, yes. So, will I watch the Indy 500? Yeah, I'll probably tune into it. Is it tonight, Pinoy, or is it tomorrow? It's tomorrow, isn't it? I'll probably catch the end of it tomorrow because I'm hosting the Missed Apex podcast. So, yeah, other than that. Max Weber, difficult car is not good at all. Ferrari by far best with McLaren and Mercedes behind. Agreed, Haaland. Yeah, agreed. Do I think Mercedes fans will support Mercedes after Lewis comes to Ferrari? Yeah. Well, yes and no. So I think F1's quite unique because we followed, I would say people probably follow drivers more than teams. I think we have more of a soft relationship with teams than we do drivers. It's kind of weird. I mean, do I follow teams more than drivers? I would say I probably follow drivers more than teams, or support drivers more than the team themselves. But there are teams that I have a soft spot for, like Williams. I want them to do well, regardless of kind of which driver lineup they've got. Yeah, F1's kind of unique in that regard in team sport, isn't it? So, hang on. Give me a second. Here's the Manchester United score, by the way, as well. What's the FA Cup final? How's that getting on? Let's have a look. TV guide. I think it says that Sky Sports F1 will have the Indy. Yeah, I know they have the. I know that they had. They were going to stream it on YouTube, but then I think it got pulled, didn't it? So Whoa! Okay, is anyone? I'm going to give spoilers for the Manchester FA Cup final right now. I'm going to give spoilers. Just close your ears. The 78 minutes just been played in the FA Cup final. Man City versus Manchester United, and Manchester United are 2-0 up. Crazy, absolutely crazy. I didn't expect that. Mercedes doesn't have only British fans. Exactly. So yeah, people will still support it, but yeah, a lot of people will support Ferrari because of Lewis. So which is fair. Look, everyone's entitled to support whoever they want, whether that be team or driver. So Adrian's leaving his seat in Red Bull Stadium. Hasn't even left yet. The next race, Max start P12. No, I don't think so. How much is this season exceeding your expectations? Massively. Absolutely massively exceeding my expectations, Pinoy. I didn't expect... Like, Max Verstappen's still kind of been dominant, hasn't he? But I didn't expect, of course, Carlos Sainz to win that race in Australia as early as he... in Australia, of course, that was a mechanical issue with Verstappen. But yeah, I mean, I just didn't expect them to get this close. The other teams this quickly. I thought we'd see it at the end of the year and hope that we'd have... I genuinely was thinking, I hope we have what we're seeing now at any time next year. That's what I was hoping. I was just expecting, yeah, it's going to be dominant this year from Red Bull again. Maybe we'll have some mechanical issues. But that's it. And wow. I mean, what, a quarter of the way through the season, are we? Something like that? So... KDB got benched by Pep after 56 minutes. Did he really? Is that stat correct? Leclerc hasn't won from pole the last 12 times. Yes. Max Verstappen has more wins from Leclerc being on pole position than Leclerc has wins from himself being on pole position. But this time around, Max Verstappen will not be winning, I think, from Leclerc being on pole position because he's down in 6th. So Most fans follow Lewis to Ferrari and join Ferrari. Yeah, probably. Lewis fans will, because they're Lewis fans. They'll follow Lewis wherever he goes. So imagine how Red Bull Silverstone grandstands would be. Yeah. But there we go, guys. That is the end of this stream. It's been an absolutely mega qualifying. We expected it to be. Let's have one final rundown of your grid for the Monaco Grand Prix tomorrow. Well, we will be live 45 minutes before the race starts, 2 p.m. UK time. So, Leclerc in that Ferrari at his home race is your pole position for tomorrow. It is his to lose, in my opinion. He's been tremendously quick all weekend in the practice sessions and, of course, qualifying today. He finished 0.15 seconds, 1.5 tenths ahead of the McLaren of Oscar Piastri, who was very good himself. If he gets a good launch tomorrow, it could be a very intriguing race with him ahead of Leclerc. We will see. Carlos Sainz in P3, a good result for him. Splitting the two McLarens there gives him an opportunity to try and launch past Oscar Piastri. We have seen drivers in the past launch themselves from P3 up into that lead, but of course a lot more difficult now in this modern era of F1. Lando Norris in P4, nearly giving me that full house, that full sweep of my predictions with Leclerc, Piastri and Norris in the top 3, but he will have to start alongside Carlos Sainz on the second row in P4. Russell, good drive from him, mega first sector, fastest out of anyone in P5. Max Verstappen struggling all this weekend with the back end of that Red Bull, just doesn't seem to be happy, very twitchy, and as Max found out when he was right on the limit, hit the wall out of turn 1. Not so much so that it damaged the car, but unfortunately definitely compromised his lap, and that's why he's starting in 6th. Hamilton in P7. Okay from Lewis, but would have expected better considering how well he was doing in the practice sessions. Yuki Tsunoda showing why he potentially should be in that Red Bull seat instead of Perez, who we will get to in very soon at the bottom of your screen. Good result from him in Q3. Albon in 9th. Mega from the Williams team. Williams driver to drag a Williams into Q3 at Monaco. Great from him, and Gasly as well. However, he would have been hoping for better in Q3, because he is now lining up alongside, only one position ahead of his teammate Esteban Ocon in 11th. Hulkenberg in 12th. Ricardo, not great from him. Sorry, Danny Rick fans. 5 positions back from his teammate Yuki, who's just clearly outperforming him at the moment. Lance Stroll in 14th with his teammate Alonso in 16th. Alonso went out in Q1, second race in a row. It's not often we see that from Alonso. So Stroll, credit where it's due though, out qualifying his teammate for, 4th race in a row, someone told me. And then Sargent in 17th. Perez, shocker. Absolute worst driver of the day, because the stake F1 cars were not at the races here this weekend. They might as well not have turned up. So Perez, in my opinion, is last. That's how bad of a performance it was for the king of the streets, as he's commonly referred to. And there we go, guys. There we go. That is the end of this qualifying stream. A big thank you to you all. 23,211 subs. If you can hit that subscribe button one last time on your way out as I'm ending this stream, it'd be much appreciated. Over 1,000 likes. So big thank you. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow for an intriguing Monaco Grand Prix. There might not be a lot happening in regards to overtaking, but there'll still be plenty to keep an eye out on in regards to strategy, and it's going to be more. There's going to be more emphasis and more importance on the pit crew and the strategy team than it is really from the drivers out front. But yes, tune in tomorrow, 1:15 UK time, 45 minutes before the race. I'm going to set the stream up straight after this. Hit the notification button, and yeah, you'll get alerted half an hour before I go live. So yeah, big thank you guys. Have a lovely rest of your Saturday, and we'll catch you tomorrow. Bye.